Good evening, good Sunday evening to you. Hope everybody's surviving the snowpocalypse and monumental weather that we're getting through this and staying warm. Competitions are changing and getting canceled as we go into the next couple of days, and so make sure you're aware of your NFHS weigh-in rules coming up this week as we're looking at districts. For this next week, we're starting to enter the postseason time. And a lot going on as we go into this. We've got one last training meeting tonight that Dennis is going to cover some information for us. It's really going to be important to us as we go through postseason into districts and then regionals and the state tournament. A lot of districts also have JV tournaments as well in these. That's been a real popular addition to the competition schedule over the last handful of years, is adding JVs into this. And so again, more competition and more participation in that, which is always welcome on our side. However, on the officiating side, we've got to keep up with that as well. And so you will see over this next week, we're going to kick off our recruiting campaign. Again, very crazy successful, our recruiting campaign this past season. We've actually got, I think the last number we had was 88 confirmed officials all the way across the state were new officials this year, which is a huge explosion of new officials, and appreciate that. Our strategy, especially for many of you new officials this year that we were looking at the end of last year, is threefold: gain, train, and retain. Right? Gain, and with our actual recruiting campaign on that was very successful. We're going to roll that out again for districts, regionals, and state tournaments. That's a QR code, the website, getting you hooked up and exposure into your chapter and your chapter leadership to get you there. Once we get you into the TWA, then also the train portion of that, right? With mentors and training activities, one of which is tonight. This will be Dennis's 5th training meeting on this. We really appreciate everything he's done on this side as our TWA rules interpreter. So a training meeting will cover several things, including assistant officiating tonight on that. And then retain. Retain is the last portion of that 3. And so basically get you to come back next year. What have we done this year? What can we improve on our team to get you to come back next year and get you excited about officiating and on the mat, the best seat in the house, and participating along with us in the TWA. So again, gain, train, and retain. We're going to roll out our recruiting campaign. Again, many of you are familiar with, and I need you to help promote that as we can. If somebody wants to officiate, they're interested, they're ex-wrestlers, they're people that you wrestled with when you were in school. They're friends of your kids, whatever it is. If they're interested in wrestling at all, please direct them to the website, direct them to that QR code, get them to fill out that information so that we can get them on our list to communicate with as we move into next season on that. So without further ado, I want to turn it over to Dennis McGrain. Dennis is going to talk tonight about assistant mechanics, 2 official mechanics on the mat. It's something we don't get to practice a whole lot. Our seasoned officials have seen it more than anyone. However, as we roll into postseason, a lot of times as we get into semifinal matches, consolation semis for advancement, wrestlebacks, those types of things, and then into the finals, obviously, we use 2 officials whenever we can. And the mechanics are different, right? And one of the things I want you to listen for tonight as Dennis goes through a lot of these assistant mechanics is, as the lead official, right? As the lead official, you don't have to see every single thing that's on the mat, right? Typically, we get in that same type of situation where we start to chase our action through our evaluations across the state. One of the biggest things we see is a lot of times the official will chase the action. You're head on with the event, you're head on with the competition, you're in great position. All of a sudden, the top wrestler starts running a bar and a half, and they start turning away from you, and you start following that action all the way around the mat. With a second official on that other side, if you follow that action to the other side, you're also putting your assistant out of position. And so try to get in some sort of sync where you don't put your assistant out of position. You let them pick up that action on the other side. A lot of what Dennis is going to talk about tonight is mechanics, positioning, and what you're seeing and what your assistant will be seeing on that other side. So turn it over to Dennis, and we'll wrap it up when we're done. Dennis, thanks so much.
Thanks, Rex. So real quick, I want to say I appreciate everybody's input and participation all year. And if there's anything that I can do better, that we can do better with these rules calls, if you want to see something different, please get with me. I want these to be beneficial, not only for our veteran officials, but for our newer officials to learn stuff. So if you got something that you don't like the way I'm doing, I'm have no problem with taking input and feedback and criticism. So please let me know. Second thing, Rex mentioned it, going into districts this week. Obviously, we've had some weather in parts of the state that will affect school being in session. You should have received some notification from your chapter rules interpreter, hopefully yesterday, and about weight allowance issues and anything like that. Please pay attention to that. If you haven't received anything from them, please reach out to them. If you have a question on extra weight allowance or anything involving your district tournaments that you're the head official for, please get with your chapter rules interpreter and get with myself and Dan Lang to make sure that we are giving the correct interpretation on whether a district tournament will get an additional pound or even 2 pounds, maybe, depending on the situation, on top of the growth allowance. So please reach out, head officials, to your rules interpreter and myself and Dan Lang to make sure that we're getting everything right this week. And then if we run into something next week, hopefully not for regionals, but if we do, that we're all on the same page and everybody's doing the same thing. So with that, we'll get into second official mechanics, two-man mechanics. I don't like to call it a second official. In college, they call it an outside official. I've gotten away from calling it an assistant referee. I think in the past, calling it assistant referee has kind of given it a stigma that they're a lesser person on the mat. They are not a lesser person. They are another official. They are a second official on that mat that should be able to see everything and work with the whistle to make sure that all the calls are right. So just make sure if you're the whistle that you trust that second official, and we'll start going through some of the videos and some of the mechanics and start talking about that. So let me bring that up for you here. All right, can everybody see it?
Got it, Dennis.
All right. All right. Like before, we're just going to show videos and try and show best practices here. So in that video, we saw the second official, and we'll run it back here. Second official is basically facing directly away from the camera, and the position that he's in right there, I understand his positioning. He's watching the clock, trying to make sure they don't have a tapper. It doesn't seem like. So he's trying to make sure that he's counting down the time for his whistle. But mechanically, I don't like the position. He's just standing. So we're missing everything on this side of the action. So we're missing the line call on this side if they get to the line. So what we're looking for here is, as that whistle moves towards the wrestlers that way, I'd rather actually see that whistle circle on the inside of the wrestlers as opposed to the outside of the line. Because what that does is that would, if that second official was circling away, he would have to circle all the way around the mat to get to that back side. So any comments here? I'm really going to kind of lean on some of the veteran officials here, state officials, and other veteran officials to get your input on this stuff today.
Hey, Dennis, great mechanic on suggesting the lead official take the inside route on that, right? If, as you pointed out directly, that lead official taking the outside route there puts the outside official in a bad spot to either have to go all the way around the mat or cross him like he does. So exactly right.
Right. And again, I understand why he's standing where he's standing, because he's looking at the clock, trying to make sure that they're on the clock. It's an overtime situation. You want to make sure that action doesn't happen or scoring doesn't happen after the time runs out. But I think on that one, I put it on both of them. I think the whistle should have circled inside, and really in that situation as a whistle, uh, Rex and Jaron guys, if you know that you've got 15 seconds left and you're the whistle, would you not stay on this near side to allow that second official to have that far side? So he's got a view of the clock. You've got the view of the action on this side. He's got the view of the action on the other side. He can still give you the countdown, and you're both getting a good side of the action. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would, Dennis.
So does everybody kind of get the gist of what we're saying there? You always want to make sure that with two officials that you're seeing both sides of the action. At this point, they're both right over here. You don't see anything over here. So you could be missing a lot of stuff. So we'll move on. So it takes a minute to see the whistle here. So he comes across right there. And then his second comes behind him. And again, it's a situation to where if that whistle, and that time he does circle inside so that the second official can go around the outside. But originally, when it starts out, he's over here to the right and comes in. Obviously, the second official's over here to the right. Whistle comes in on the outside and basically forces his second official, unless he wants to run all the way around the circle, to circle behind him and miss the action on that far side while he's trying to get there. So a lot of the mechanic here, in my mind, the whistle can do a lot to help make sure that both he and his second official are in good position. Honestly, I think the onus is on that whistle to make sure that his positioning and his movement helps to move that second official and allow them to move into position more seamlessly and keep them both with the eyes in the action. So we'll move on from this. I think this one's pretty simple.
Dennis, Brett has a question asking if you are losing your voice, which I guess is a common thing. If you're losing your voice, would it be okay to go closer to the lead official for countdown?
I mean, yeah, but still try and stay on the other side of the action, or I mean, yell. But I mean, you want to just make sure that you've got both sides of the action. You don't want to put yourself in a position to where you're missing possible calls because you're trying to get that countdown in. All right, we'll get this one here. Okay, real quick, right in the beginning here, catch what the second official does. It's just a quick glance, up, turn around, make sure the clock starts, and then keeps moving. Okay, it's a great mechanic just to make sure, because we all know every now and then they'll miss that start button, and we'll start wrestling with time not running. So he does a good job there. Now he's trying to figure out, which way is that whistle going? Okay, he went that way, so I'll go this way. We're good. Okay, now he's coming back. Oh, he's coming back this way, so I got to walk all the way around. Okay, I'm walking all the way around. That's good. Oh, now he's coming back at me.
It's a great video, Dennis.
Guys, that second official, this is especially the state tournament, guys. I mean, you should not have any issue with allowing that second official the room to have that other side and not be in a hurry to rush to get into that position. So he's watching his whistle, seeing where he's going, trying to set up. Okay, the action's going that way, so I'm going to go towards that line. Okay. Oh well, now he's coming back now. And I mean, I have known of officials that really don't like to work with a second official, and they'll move around a lot and really make the second official work more than they need to, basically run around the mat to try and counter the position of the whistle instead of the whistle just allowing them to take the action that's there. So, any questions on this one? I mean, again, it's I don't fault the second official here. I think it's great mechanic to look at the clock, make sure it's working, and then just trying to shadow that whistle and make sure he's on that opposite side. But the whistle's just he's killing him.
He's officiating it like one official, right?
Right. And that, guys, it's tough. Like Rex said, we have so many events. DFW, Houston, we have so many events that we don't have time during the regular season to put, for the most part. Every now and then, some of the bigger tournaments, we try and do two-man mechanics, but for the most part, we're single on everything. So it's not something that we do. But when we do it, you've got to trust that that second official has that other side and trust that they're going to get that call for you. And just allow it to go. And don't be worried that you're going to miss a call, because you got another set of eyes on that other side that are going to keep you from missing a call, or should. It's another one where I think the second official is kind of,
We're gigillionaires now. Wi-Fi works.
hey guys, do me a favor, mute.
I got it. Sorry about that. A little late.
It's all right. Okay, so what's the whistle doing? He's now he's coming to the other side. If he comes there for this second official to get that other side, he's got to run all the way around or do what he does right there and cut across the mat. And he still misses it. He's still out of position because the whistle forces him right here. I think he's a little slow to move to that far side, and then he does, and we're good here. In my opinion, there's no reason for that whistle to walk all the way around to the edge there. He's missing a possible scissors on the head there because he's over on the line here instead of staying up on the heads. And then what he does is he comes even closer to the second official. And now this backside, when it gets to there, there's nobody there.
Dennis, right here, that outside official should go to the right and behind the whistle. Just come over to the far side of the mat.
Yeah, and that's an option, but I'll tell you right now that we've been told at the state tournament that that's not a good mechanic to walk behind the whistle.
I don't know who told you that, but last thing you want to do is cut across the mat like this guy did. That's
absolutely. But
yeah.
I mean,
yeah, no, Dennis, I've said it at the state tournament, and the thing is, it's not a preferred mechanic, right? We're talking about a preferred mechanic versus what Dan is talking about here, when you have to do it because the whistle official has forced you into making one of three decisions, and two of them are really bad, and the third one takes a lot of time and puts you out of position. So yeah, in that situation, that's about that's your best choice in that, but it's not a preferred choice for sure.
Sure. So let me not to stray way off the subject. So in an evaluation situation, when you've got an evaluator, if they're evaluating this situation, who are they going to downgrade in that? Are they going to downgrade the whistle for putting the second official out of position? Or if he goes behind that whistle, are they going to downgrade him for going behind the whistle?
Well, if you've got an evaluator worth their salt, they're going to understand that the whistle is putting the second official in an awkward, bad position. So they shouldn't be downgrading the second official at all. That's the last thing I'd worry about here. Get to your spot. Get to your spot. Right. Do your job.
And again, as the whistle, don't be so focused on you have to be in the perfect position to get the call when you got another set of eyes on the other side, and you're going to hear it all night. So because that second official is all the way over there, by the time he runs over there, even cutting across, he's not there when they go out of bounds to see anything. So this one, I'm not sure what the second official is doing. He's just hanging out. I mean, he had more than enough time. Now he gets into a better position, checks the clock, but mean, he walks this way, and then the whistle comes across and goes inside, which is great. But then I'm not sure what the second official's mindset is here when he should be closer to straight across from the official to the left here, to where if he was there, he'd have a great view of the action and be able to just glance at the clock real quick. So on that, I put that on the second official for not moving into position.
Fly very wildly based on the match. You might find tickets.
So this is another one late in the period. So that second official, he's moving around to get in position to see the clock because there's no tapper. Moving there, they go out of bounds. And hey, when they go out of bounds, the positioning of either official really great here when they go out of bounds? They're out of bounds all the way to the left here, and you've got two officials almost in the center of the mat. Nobody on the line. So, I mean, the position right there is lousy on both of them. So we got to restart here. So the second official comes back around to get into the position over here, and he almost gets run over right there, trying to get back to be able to see the clock. I understand that the wanting to be able to get there to see the clock. Obviously, we have the luxury of having tappers at every table at the state tournament, and normally at regionals and districts as well. So we don't have to focus as much as that second official being on that countdown. As long as we know that we've got a tapper and they've been doing a good job all day, we don't have to worry about, oh, we're getting in position to see that clock going down. So, but again, just positioning. So you've got a tapper out there. Second official comes around, hustles to get into at the line. So they're going to show slow-mo here. And the reason I grabbed this is, what is the second official doing? He's on his knee and he's pointing. How much trouble is that going to do? In my opinion, and if anybody wants to contradict me, Dan, Rex, I'm not a big fan of pointing at stuff like that on the second official.
No, Dennis, I would agree with you. I mean, if you're the second official, you know, we shouldn't be pointing. We shouldn't have nonverbal actions, facial expressions, anything like that. You can, you can be in a position, the second official is in a really good position there. They saw where the defending wrestler had the attacking wrestler's right arm trapped. He wasn't able to do anything with that right arm to secure a takedown. And, the head official is showing no control, right? So it
Right.
appears that they're both on the same page. So, but that's just as a second official, we don't point. Worst case, if the head official would have awarded 3 because he did, they didn't see that right arm was trapped, then the assistant comes in and says, "Hey, we don't have a takedown here, and here's why." Right? You have that quick
Right.
conversation. Official, with the whistle, either says, "Hey, I'm going to wipe that off, and here's why," or they override the second official. So, yeah, yeah. There's only a few. There's really only one signal that the second official is going to be using, and that's the locked hands signal, or potentially, you could show the illegal if you had to, but locked hands is really the primary signal that a second official would show, and that's the only one that they would really show.
Right. Again, pointing. So not only the pointing, we'll start this again. And I don't hate the positioning there. Whistle gets down, calling near fall. Second official all of a sudden runs in, gets to a knee, pointing at something. Okay. So the positioning here for their little conference. If we're talking to our whistle and the second official, where should we be talking? Should we be talking right on top of the wrestlers on our knees?
No, step off to the side.
You want to go all the way up to the top of the mat, keep the wrestlers in your view the whole time, have your conversation, talk about whatever. But I'm not a fan of this look at all. And then makes his call, still on his knees. And that was a lot of signals. And then, did you notice there at the end? So it may have turned illegal, and that's fine. That's great. So as a second official, hey, let's go have a conversation. I had the headlock became illegal. So 2 reversal, 2 near fall, 1 illegal. But this is what I'm talking about here. Hey, do not touch the wrestlers, guys. And I may be in the minority here, but I do not touch wrestlers. And I especially don't bend over and have a nice little conversation with them. If I've got to talk to them, I'll tell them what they did wrong from 5 feet away. If they can't understand that, that's on them. But I do not touch them. And I certainly don't let them show what they were doing. And I can't remember if it was a state tournament, but I think it was a state tournament where we had an official that actually did that. Had a wrestler showing what he was doing. Guys,
That's the Illinois State tournament. I promise you that. Yep. They're
Oh, it
yeah,
is.
with
Mhm.
Montini, yeah. But I mean, guys, we do not touch wrestlers, and we don't let wrestlers show what they were doing on us. It's such a bad look.
Also, don't touch coaches.
Right.
Just don't touch anybody. It's a much safer, cleaner environment if you do that.
Right. Don't touch coaches. Don't put your finger in coaches' chests. Don't shake your finger in their face. When we're having a conversation at the table, and I'm sure Rex will cover this again at the state tournament because he does every year, we should be shoulder to shoulder, not face to face. Shoulder to shoulder, our hands are at our sides or behind our back, and we're having a civil, professional conversation with the coach, no matter what the coach is saying. They can be screaming their heads off, but we are not being baited into that. We are being professional. We're having conversation, answering a question, and we are moving on. Okay, we do not want to get into situations to where we're touching or antagonizing the coach by our own actions. Okay, that's it. We just can't have that. And trust me.
So
Go ahead, Dave.
I was going to say, so in this video there that we just showed, right, where the second or the assistant comes in, into the center of the mat to tell the head official of the illegal hold right there. Guys, you don't have to get that close. I mean, if you can see it and it's illegal, say, hey, Dennis, illegal headlock, right? And generally speaking, your head official should be able to hear you, and if they don't, then move closer and make sure you get their attention. Say, hey, I've got an illegal headlock here, right? You can do that without walking into the center of the mat.
Oh, I like this one. I'm assuming this is an old college match.
It's a really old college match. If that's who I think it is, call him with the whistle.
So, uh, figure four is illegal in college, correct? On the head, or is it still
No,
legal?
not from near fall.
Okay. So once they've got them in near fall, they can figure four the head.
Yep.
I wasn't sure if they changed that. Obviously, in high school, by application, that's illegal. Okay, so we've got that. So if this was a high school match, they missed that. But what I'm wondering is the second official getting all the way down, laying down on the mat, basically. I'm trying to figure out what he's looking for, first of all. Maybe to make sure it's a figure four, not a scissors, if that makes a difference in college. But as a second official, you never want to be down on the mat. You should be standing straight up, watching for anything illegal, letting the referee have the pin, and all we're up there is figuring out if anything goes wrong up top. Okay, they've got the pin, you got the body. Okay, so you never ever want to get down on the mat like that. And honestly, that's the first time I've ever seen a college official as an outside or second official get flat on the mat like that. And you guys that have worked a ton of college can correct me if I'm wrong on that.
No, no. I mean, in that situation, I mean, I'll let Jern pipe in here, but I, I don't see any of us in that second or assistant role ever getting down on the mat like that.
No, I wouldn't be in that position. Agreed.
So again, it's another situation to where it's a timing thing. The second official's wanting to make sure that he's counting down. But then who's on this side to watch that line? To me, we want to make sure that we've got good eyes on that line call as to when they go out of bounds. And in this situation, honestly, if I'm the whistle and I see my second official start to come that way, I'm walking inside, coming around the wrestlers to put my back to the clock to where we've got an official on both sides instead of just hanging out there watching the action.
Yeah. So Dennis, this is a situation you and I were talking about earlier, right? Where if you go back and we know who these officials are. So the official that's coming from the outside, right? The assistant, second assistant, whatever you want to call them. So they're coming on the outside. If you're the whistle, Titus in this situation, you can come on the inside of these wrestlers, right? And you're swapping spots. Then now there's enough room here where you could probably go on the outside either or two, but yeah, I mean it's a good point where if you see one official coming one way and you know that they've got a view and you're on the line, in a perfect world, we want to have one official on the top side of that line and the other official on the bottom side of that line. So we've got really good view of the line, right? Because the official with the whistle, they're looking for, is scoring secured, right? The outside official in this case is really watching the line, but they're both mirroring each other. And if you're the second official in this case, you can do that, and you can look at the clock all in the same line of sight.
Right. I don't hate that second official went there. I mean, he's trying to get there because he knows there's 7 seconds left. They don't have a tapper, so he's wanting to get there. So they got a good indication as to when time runs out. I just would like to see the whistle Titus come inside and straddle the line on this near side, just so that we've got eyes on both sides. Another one that, so the second official is the nearest to the camera here, and as the action's coming toward him, he's not moving. He's kind of putting down roots, as we say, instead of realizing the action's coming this way and backing up to where he's got that tangent on the line, to be able to see the out of bounds when it happens, as opposed to it coming directly at him to where they're basically blocking his viewpoint as they come out.
Yeah. So Dennis, I'm not sure if many people know this or not, but that's Brian Lamb's cousin. It was the outside official there. And so they do have some similarities in their roles as second officials, as you can see. But more importantly, in this situation, if you're the second official and the action's coming to you, the last thing you want to do is move forward to it, right? All he has to do is rotate to his right up the line, and he maintains line coverage and line positioning without impeding upon the wrestling action coming at him.
Yep. I mean, I honestly, the whistle's in good position there. It's just the second official isn't helping him out by where he's at. Again, they're having a conversation right by the wrestlers, really not paying much attention to what the wrestlers are doing. And then I'm going to assume the second is the senior official here, because as he throws up the score, okay, now the coach is coming to the table, and the second official, instead of pulling the wrestlers to the center, he starts walking towards the conversation like he feels like he needs to add something to it. In the positioning here, obviously I'd like to see the second official moving a little bit more there at the beginning, but then he does get into a better position, mirroring that whistle. And then they have a conversation on whether this is a takedown or not. And instead of going to the top of the mat to where they can keep everything in their vision, they just stop right there, right on top of the wrestlers.
So Dennis, the other thing with the assistant in this case, the assistant spends more time inside the out of bounds line than outside. And so general rule of thumb, folks, is that if you're the outside official or the second official, you're gonna be on the outside of that line, out of bounds line, pretty much at all times.
And then again here, he's walking up like he wants to be part of the conversation. You don't need to be in that conversation. You've already had the conversation you need to have is with that whistle, and then that's it.
Hey, Dennis, a reason why he's walking up, and this is just my general opinion, you can always let the head coach or the coach at the table sit there for a minute. You've got to talk to your second before you go up there and make sure that you're good with the call between the two of you.
Right.
Stand
Right.
out there, go to the side, whatever it is, get your call right first. Let that coach stand up there for everybody to see for a little bit. Be sure of your situation. It doesn't seem like they talked long enough and he wanted to add something to it. Have all that done before you go up there. And then you give that coach time to calm down too and think about things. But get it right before you go up there. That's probably why they didn't talk about it.
Well, I mean, they did have that conversation. I mean, if we go backwards, they had a pretty good conversation there.
Oh, did they? Yeah, I didn't see that. And there's no
Yeah,
reason
if
for
you
that, but
watch.
just make
Yeah,
damn
I mean,
sure and make your nonverbal actions, your head nod or whatever it is. Let that coach know that you two are in alignment on what you saw, what your
yeah, I
call
mean, this
is.
is this is a pretty long conversation they're having about that call.
Yeah. Yep.
So
Yeah.
that's
No
why I
reason
said
for him to go up
I'm
there.
betting
He
that
should.
that second.
The second official should go back to the wrestlers at that point because the bad thing is you're leaving those two athletes standing there by themselves,
Absolutely,
right? Go
absolutely.
back, hold them. You're taking the position of that official in that situation. You're responsible for the wrestlers.
Right, and that's I mean it's just pure conjecture on my part, but I'm wondering if that second official happens to be a more veteran official than the whistle, so he feels like he needs to get over there and make sure and deal with anything that comes up. And I could be wrong, but that's just the gist I got from it.
Hey, Dennis, it's Troy.
Yes, Troy.
Um, Jeremiah just posted a really good point in the chat, which I think of it as, and Jeremiah, I'm going to try to frame this, and if I'm wrong, for God's sake, speak up. There should be a kind of a basic set of principles or rules that we should be thinking about as an AR, because we're watching a lot of stuff and we're seeing a lot of what I'll call goofy stuff. But if we could back up and maybe you or Rex or somebody could say, look, as an AR, keep A, B, C, and D in mind, whatever those are. Are there some guiding principles that you would just kind of put out there that we can all know what right looks like? And a lot of people might know this, but it would help me. That makes sense, Dennis?
Rex, is the guidelines that you give to the guys at state, is that on the state website?
It is. It's under more and documents. I believe I'm trying to navigate there now too. But it is out there. I mean, it's the
Okay.
evaluation criteria, and then I think I know Troy that Mike Marshall had that too. For he and I were talking about that last week for Austin. I
Yeah,
sent it to him, but it's under more and then resources on
got
the
it.
website.
All
It's
right.
basically laid out kind of the expectations of this second
Right.
official.
Right.
So
So to be clear and in credit to my colleagues, I had that conversation with him. I know kind of what those principles are. It was Jeremiah's question in the chat. I was like, hey, but anyway, you've answered the question, Jeremiah. There's a written resource out there. Hopefully you saw that. Oh, now it's in the chat. Cool. Back to you, Dennis.
all right. And just to answer the slightly off topic question, yes, TWA officials will be handling weigh-ins and skin checks for districts and regionals. And if you'll remind me at the end, I want to talk about that some more, but let's move on with this real quick. This is New York. All right, so we'll watch it again. First, they start moving. Second official, he finally unroots himself here, kind of goes out of frame, puts himself in a position to where it looks like actually the coach steps in front of him here, and he actually has to circle behind the coach, which that shouldn't happen. The coach needs to be back in the corner. And guys, you may have a different mindset. A, I'm not going to be there. That's a bad position because I can't really see the line call. And B, I do not catch wrestlers. If they go out of bounds, they go out of bounds, but I'm not catching them. Okay. He looks like he's in a position to try and catch him. And he's on basically got his hands on his knees, bent over at the waist, it looks like. So just, in my opinion, just a bad form all the way around. And any input and thoughts on this, I'd love to hear it. But again, he finally moves. He moves out of the picture. The coach gets out of his chair and, in my opinion, gets too close to the circle here. Second official has to come behind him and shouldn't be in that position, in my opinion. Anybody got any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, Dennis, a couple things on this one. You know, as the assistant is moving to get in position, and if that coach is out of their coaching area and you make contact with them, that's not unsportsmanlike on the coach. You can delay that call until you get done with the action. But again, you go back to kind of one of the the 10 commandments of two person mechanics. Stay 180, right? So you've got the whistle who is inside the line, right? So the assistant should be 180 degrees away from them. So they're going to be on the right side of the action, our right, essentially where that coach is, right? Because now you've got a great view down the line. And to your point, yeah, we don't catch wrestlers, right? You get over there and those wrestlers hit you. Now you've caused unnecessary match stoppage. Let them wrestle. Get out of the way. Get in your position. Know where you're supposed to be.
And guys, if I've got a coach that happens to be standing up and kind of encroaching towards the mat, and that's the position I need to be in, I don't have any problem with backing up, and either the coach backs up or he runs into me. Okay. It's kind of a nonverbal way of telling him he needs to sit back down or get back to the chairs at least.
Yeah, Mike Peterson had a good comment in chat. Said, "Hey, coach, can you sit back? I wouldn't say sit back down, right? Coach,
right.
Can you move out of the way, please? Right?
Yeah, back in the corner.
Yeah, well, just say, coach, I need room.
Honestly,
give me room.
They don't have to sit down.
It's correct.
Yeah,
it's correct.
Hey, one thing here I would say, Dennis, is we always try to get in the best position, but looking at action coming to you makes it harder to see out of bounds. So as Dan said, staying off to the right and looking down the line or an angle of the line, you can see more that way on the assistant side of it all. The second thing that kind of stood out to me on this one, I kept watching more than the assistant guy, is the whistle guy flying. We're not Air Force pilots or not Air Force planes. My deal is on the deal. When you're showing your no control, show it out once. If you haven't thrown the three up or reverse for two, we know there's still no control. There's no change or whatever. So not flying is one thing that was a pet peeve of mine. I know I've got picked on a couple of times with that from people saying, don't be an airplane.
10 seconds he's got it out there. 12 seconds he's got it out there. 15 seconds. So he basically held that for almost 20 seconds. Still holding it. Nothing's changed, so why does he need to continue to hold his arms out there? So, any other comments on this one? All right. This is kind of a longer one. Okay, where is the second official when they go out of bounds here? By the clock. Looking at the clock. Does he move at all before they go out of bounds all the way to the right? Is he going to be of any help to the whistle on out of bounds calls all the way across the other side?
No.
Okay, so now we got a caution. I'm not sure if it was for him dropping on him hard. We got a second caution. Still not exactly sure what for. I guess it was he wasn't exactly on the elbow, which that's great. If he's in bad position, you throw the caution up there. Okay. Now they're going. So they went all the way out the top of the mat, and the second official didn't move. And we got all kinds of different stuff going on here. So we'll go back, restart, he goes straight out of bounds. He makes the stall call, ends the match on a stall call. Anybody have an issue with him tossing the headgear there? And remember, I said tossing. I didn't say slamming. I didn't say spiking. He just dropped it. So does anybody have an issue there?
If he dropped it, that's fine. If he spikes it,
Because
launches
this is
it,
college.
different situation.
Right. Okay. He does a good job bringing the wrestlers back to the center. I like that. While the coach is talking. How do we like the mechanic on that coach's misconduct call? So he's having a conversation with the coach. I'm not sure I like him grabbing the coach's arm, walking back, and just throws it out there as he's walking back to the center. Now,
Yeah, very, very easy for the table to miss that.
Absolutely. As the guys that have worked tables at state before, is that something you might miss with everything else that's going on? Him just throwing the arm out there?
Yeah, he should definitely face the table and make his call. Make sure that they have eye contact with him and they see it.
Okay. So again, that the second official during the match, he's not moving at all. I mean, honestly, he's not an extra set of eyes for that official for any of the line calls. So basically, he's just a tree, kind of rooted, watching the action, not really helping with it. So you want to make sure that as they come to their feet, you're moving. Try to anticipate where the action's going to go and get there. And sometimes you got to hustle to get there. I mean, it doesn't mean you got to sprint, but sometimes you got to kind of get up on your toes and hustle. Right here, he should be moving. Because there is any way he can help with that call from where he was. I don't think so. And that's it, guys. I knew it was going to be quick. What I would say on the second official, again, Rex or Dan talked about it. Really, the only signal that you should be giving is locked hands. Now, whether that's locked hands or illegal, it's the same signal that you want to give, and just hold it. You don't need to hold it way up above your head. You just want to just hold it right about here, guys, just so that whistle will see it. We don't want to be way up here, because if we're way up here, I mean, we don't need it here. Just right here, make sure that whistle sees it, that you've got something, and then have the conversation about what you had. And then the other thing is, Dan and I had a conversation earlier tonight about this on near fall situations. If you're the whistle and you're on the backside and that near fall is towards that second official, you don't have to be in a rush to get there. As a second official, in your head, when you've got them in near fall, start counting near fall in your head. And as that whistle comes to your side, don't be in a rush to move until that whistle gets there to be in position to see that near fall. And then just tell him, hey, I've got 2 near fall. That way he can start his count at 3, 4. Okay. We don't want to do that verbally. We don't want to do that out loud. Do it in our head. And just once they get over there, let them know, hey, I had a 1 count there, I had a 2 count there, I had a 3 count there, or I had a 4 count before you got over here. Hopefully it doesn't take them that long to get there, but just let them know if they're in near fall and you've got it. And then as the whistle, if that second official tells you they had a 2 count, I would believe that they've got a 2 count and start your count at 3 and then 4.
Dennis,
I hate
did
to
you
put it
want
this
to
way,
put
but I'm
down
going to put it this way.
Skin
Don't
Chanson
have
Lands?
the ego that you've got to see it before you can make the call. There's a reason why they're there, especially at the state tournament. So trust them. And any other questions on second official stuff?
Yeah, Dennis,
Stuff
really
that stuff that you've run into? Yes, sir.
Yeah, really good points there at the end. So, here's the thing is that, it doesn't matter which 2 of our officials are on the mat together working. You guys function as a team, right? And I will tell you that there's a lot of times I'd love to have a second official on any match of mine because, the wrestlers turn away, and shoot, you can't see it. There's no way you can get there. And that's usually when a kid will lock hands and you're kind of cooked, right? So if you're working proper two-man mechanics, you've got eyeballs on on these wrestlers at all times. And so it's so much easier. And here's the thing too, Dennis and I talked about is that if you're the second official, it doesn't matter what mat it is, it doesn't matter where you're at in the event. You've got a job to do. Your focus should be 100% on your mat and that match only. Be an active participant in that match. You are the second set of eyes that we need on that mat. And the one thing that you will hear the coaches whine about the most is why the hell do we have 2 officials on the mat where neither one's seeing the damn thing, right? So, that is your job. It is a very important job. You have the same mobility as the whistle. You essentially have the same call making as the official. We've talked about those exceptions, but you got a job to do, and we expect you to do your job. And when we're talking about postseason, it doesn't get any bigger for these athletes. It doesn't get any bigger for us as officials. We demand excellence. We expect excellence from our officials in postseason. Do the things that we've asked you to do, especially with 2-man mechanics, and that makes everybody look really good, right? We've had a couple years at the state tournament where we've just had second officials that were completely disengaged. They didn't move for 6 minutes. And, I'm not going to lie. It's not really my forte at the state tournament to deal with that situation. But I really don't want to get yelled at by a coach for 10, 15 minutes about why one of our officials has planted roots, grown an orchard for 7 minutes and was completely disengaged. It's a horrible look for all of us, right? So we function as one. If the team, meaning all the officials at the event, do well, hey, that is the best compliment we can ever get. So this stuff is really important. And I know sometimes it's easy for us if we're the second official to kind of, lose focus a little bit, but we're asking you to stay focused while you're on the mat, regardless of whether you have the whistle or not.
Absolutely. Honestly, the easiest way to do that, guys, is score the match in your head like you are on the whistle. Okay. If you're scoring that match like you're on the whistle, you're going to be engaged with it. Okay. If you just think that you're there to just kind of watch and make sure that there aren't locked hands or anything like that, you're doing a disservice, A, to your whistle, B, to those 2 wrestlers that have fought their ass off to be there. So be better and just score it in your head. If you score it in your head from your side, you're going to stay engaged. The other thing I would say is if a coach does something unsportsmanlike that the whistle doesn't catch, you absolutely have the right to make that call.
Yeah, go to the head official, tell them what happened, have them make the call.
Right.
Right.
You'd rather do that then?
Same thing with the wrestlers, right?
Okay.
And Dennis, if I may, postseason talk here. I know that we'll probably see this somewhere along the line between districts all the way through state. You're going to have some pretty heated matches, and you're going to have a lot of emotion. You're going to have kids winning championships or qualifying or both, and it's a great time for those athletes. It's super exciting, and they're probably going to do some celebratory things, right? If they do certain things, that is very easily can warrant an unsportsmanlike conduct, which is going to be a post-match call. I'll give you a couple of examples. Obviously a throat slash. Yeah, that's in the bag of bad things to do. That's an immediate unsportsmanlike. Things as simple as doing a backflip or somersaults or things like that. Hey, that goes into the category of excessive celebration. So, you're going to have these matches. Kids are going to be jacked up and excited, and rightfully so. When you're getting to the end of the match, you're back in the center. Try to do some preventative officiating. Hey, kids, hang on to your headgear. Hey, don't do that. Hey, let's go to the corner. Things like that, right? Keep your eyes on them. Talk to them. Try to prevent kids from doing things that are going to get themselves in trouble, to the best of your ability. But if they do it, okay, you may have to make a call. And if you do, make the call. It's okay.
Yeah. Again, make the call. If the call needs to be made, make the call. That's our job. So,
Hey Dennis,
just two more things.
what do you want? What do you want us to do, or do you want everybody to do if they disagree with a call on the mat? I mean, there's a right way to do that, but to Dan's point and your point earlier, we're not just there to be looked at. If you see something you disagree with, you've got to get the officials' attention and make sure they know.
Yeah, I mean, bring it to say, hey, let's talk. Hopefully, in a scramble situation, a tight takedown on the edge, that whistle is looking up when they make the call and looking to their second officials. You got that, and you can either nod your head yes or say, let's go have a conversation. You don't want to say no. You don't want to shake your head no, but just say, hey, let's go have a conversation. I mean, if you disagree, you absolutely should take that to the whistle. Don't just say, oh, well, he got the call. I'm not going to try and change his mind. Okay. You're as much an official as he is. And if you had something different, you let him know. And all you can do is let him know, him or her know, sorry. And the one thing I would say, if that whistle doesn't change their call, they don't change their call. Don't take it personally. Don't let it change how you officiate with that official or any other official. Okay. It is the way it is. The whistle has the final call, but you need to make sure that you're calling the same way every time and reacting the same way every time. So to finish out, because we're already at a little over 8, with the weather and stuff this week with districts, if you're a head official and you have a question, please get with Dan and myself about any extra weight allowances or anything like that. Get with your chapter rules interpreter, kind of pull us all together so that we make sure we're all on the same page on what we're doing at all our district tournaments. Same with regionals if we run into weather on those. And then the last thing, we are running weigh-ins. We should be head official, check your scales, make sure they're all certified. It doesn't mean you have to use every single scale that is brought into the gym. I would say more than about 4 or 5 is more than enough. 4 or 5 is about what you want. Make sure they're all certified. Check the weights on all of them. If you've got one that's 6/10 heavier than the rest, I don't want to use that one. It just, even if it's certified, guys, you can have certified scales that are completely off from the others. Try and get a good set of scales that are right with each other on weight. Line your wrestlers up 15 minutes before weigh-in start. Get your skin checks done then. Don't wait until you're supposed to weigh in. Get your skin checks done. Make sure the wrestlers, if they have any sort of skin issues, they better have a skin form. Okay. We don't want to run into situations where we're not having kids wrestle because they don't have a skin form. So hopefully they've got a skin form. But if they've got something that's suspect, hopefully you've got a appropriate healthcare professional there that can help you make a determination on something that doesn't have a skin form. But make sure that we are running those skin checks, and then make sure that we are supervising those weigh-ins. If you want to have coaches write weights, I'm fine with that, but we should be supervising those weigh-ins. Okay, any questions on that? Okay. Again, guys, I appreciate everybody's input this season, the feedback that I've gotten. And again, if there's something I can do better for y'all, if I'm still rules interpreter next year, I don't kind of know if this is a 1-year gig or what the term limit is. So if I'm back next year, please let me know what I can do better to help y'all be better officials. Okay. I appreciate all of y'all, and good luck this week at districts and next week at regionals. Thanks.
Great. Thanks, Dennis. Thanks, Dennis. Have a great evening, everyone. Good luck this week. Get with your chapter rules interpreter if you have any questions. Thanks again.